Had some technical difficulties, so thank you for bearing with us. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Harmoning, President of the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today for the 2020 Burnsville Mayoral Candidate Forum. I want to thank our sponsors, Shippers Resource Center and Xcel Energy, for making this event possible. And I want to thank our moderator today, Brady Folkstead. Brady, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I am Brady.
We need to unmute you, Brady. Oh. Never mind, go ahead.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm Brady Folkstead, Chair of the Public Policy Committee for the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate everybody joining us today, and we appreciate our two candidates for Burnsville Mayor, Mayor Elizabeth Kautz and Chris Cleveter. Thank you for joining us today. Prior to the start of today's candidate forum, the questions developed by the Public Policy Committee were provided to each of the candidates. We also flipped a coin to determine the order in which we would hear from the candidates today. I will say again, thank you very much. Quick little bit of housekeeping as we go through. The introductions are 2 minutes. Each subsequent follow-up question is 1 minute each. You can watch my screen as I'll also be keeping the time. During your open speaking time, my background will be green. When you're in your last 15 seconds, my background will turn to yellow. And then when your time is up, my background will turn red. So you can keep an eye on me as you're navigating the time. With that, we will begin. The winner of the coin toss was Chris Cleveter. So we'll be going to him first for his introduction. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to run for office.
Thank you, Brady. My name is Chris Cleveter. I was born originally in Seoul, Korea, to a father who was in the Air Force and a mother who was a resident of the country. After just a few months, my father was honorably discharged from the U.S. Air Force, and we moved back to Rochester, Minnesota, where I spent the next 18 years of my life. Growing up in Rochester was a great experience. It was truly impactful to grow up in what Money Magazine called the #1 city in America, 3 years running. I saw a lot of great development in that city and a lot of great leadership. When I got out of the military, I applied for and received a job with St. Paul Fire Department, moving me up into the Twin Cities area. Upon house shopping, we looked at over 150 houses. And finally, when we saw this home in Burnsville, we knew we had found the spot. We moved here almost 10 years ago and have raised a daughter who's a 2-time state champ wrestler, straight A student, and now a member of the Burnsville High School wrestling team, when that gets back into play. I've had community activism. I had some interactions with city members. I had a notice about hiding my trash cans, which I didn't know was a rule. Got me a little activated in what's going on in local politics, and I went and looked into things. Started following along, asking questions, and got invited to try out for the Economic Development Commission, where I've been for a couple of years now. Sitting on the Economic Development Commission, I've seen a lot of the inner workings in city government and local municipalities. And it's been a great learning experience so far. And as a lifelong civil servant, I'm ready to move on to the next level.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Chris. And now, Elizabeth, same to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to run for office. I'm sorry, we're going to need the mute.
Yeah, thank you, Brady, and thank you, Jennifer, and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. So what motivated me is that I was on the board of the Chamber of Commerce back in the 80s and 90s when I started to see that areas of the city were beginning to become very depressed and looking like it was getting into blight. My company, at the time, I was an entrepreneur, was located at the Gateway office park, right next to the Diamond Head Mall. Diamond Head Mall was losing all of its retailers, and it only had two retailers left. One was a Taco John, and the other one was the Army recruiting station, and everything else was dark. What I didn't like seeing is graffiti showing up, and every place else was becoming very depressed. So a couple of times going to a board meeting. I said, isn't anybody doing anything about reimagining and revisioning the city? And if anybody remembers, Roger Knightsky, who was on the board at that time, president of Camera Art, he said, Elizabeth, if you don't like it, do something about it. So I did. And when I became mayor, one of the things that we did was we convened the community, because it is about bringing our community together to re-envision what we want the community to look like. 2,000 people engaged in that process. And what you see is a 54-acre site, because one of the pillars of success was development and redevelopment. And so we focus on something that we can see results very quickly. And the area that is now called the heart of the city is an area that we focused on, an area that was only making $199,000 in property tax for the city is now making over $1 million. So you look at results and what we can get in that regard. So I have been involved in our community for a long time.
Thank you very much, both of you. The next question, Elizabeth, it will be going to you. Burnsville businesses are facing unprecedented uncertainty due to COVID-19 currently, and also civil unrest. If elected mayor, how will you continue to support local businesses? Elizabeth, I'll need you to unmute. Sorry, you may start over.
I think I'm going to, yes, thank you. One of the things that we've done is to make sure that our businesses can operate, and we'll continue to look at our ordinance and look at those ordinances that are creating obstacles for them. One of the other things that I will continue to do is to make sure that we convene and have resources for our small businesses. Because small businesses need to look at, not just small businesses, but all businesses need to look to the future and see how they're going to have to pivot. And what do they need in terms of strategic direction and visions for the next pathway for their success. So we need to make sure that they have the resources. So we have SCORE, directing them to SCORE. Open for Business is another one, through the U.S. Conference of Mayors, American Management Organization. And all of these are free to help our businesses understand where they can continue to become strategically directed and thrive.
Thank you. And Chris, moving over to you, same question. What, if elected mayor, what will you do to support local businesses during this time?
I will ensure that local government, I will do what I can, I should say, to ensure that local government does not interfere with local business owners from being able to adapt and to evolve as they see fit in these rapidly changing times. When I first started looking into our local government, our local politics, I found we had ordinances, which since have been repealed, that were dictating signage, storefront looks. I found ordinances that are still on the books that limit the amount of growler sales in brew pubs, that limit the amount of expression an artist / entrepreneur could have. Going forward, many businesses will see the need to change their models and practices, and so long as these changes bring no harm or malicious intent to the people of Burnsville, I will not interfere. It is the government's role to ensure a free, safe, and vibrant community, not to play favorites in business.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Elizabeth. Next question, and this will be going to Chris first. With the recent announcements regarding Burnsville Center, what is your position on tax increment financing for this area, and or what else would you as mayor do to ensure a positive future for the Burnsville Center area? Chris?
I will not be seeking tax increment financing for this area. Tax increment financing is taxpayer money that is intended to improve areas that are blighted and would not be otherwise developed but for the use of tax increment financing. Tax increment financing, TIF, keeps new tax revenues out of the general fund for 25 years, money that would otherwise be used for schools, roads, and public safety. Furthermore, inappropriate use of TIF is likely to reduce availability for TIF for other projects in Burnsville. Theoretically, TIF builds a tax base, but the inappropriate use of TIF can actually have the opposite effect. The use of TIF is a debt, and it is a gamble, and TIF should only be used as a last resort option. I see plenty of options coming by and being available through the free market. Many citizens groups and organizations, including myself, are advising against the overuse of TIF and advocating for greater transparency and accountability in local economic development subsidies.
Thank you very much. And now, Elizabeth, as to you and your position on tax increment financing for the Burnsville Center area and or what else you may do for the Burnsville Center area.
Well, I am a proponent of TIF. I've seen what TIF has done for our community. And our TIF that we're going after the legislature to get authorization is to build infrastructure. We have already put in place a vision for the center village, which is the redevelopment of the shopping center area. And it's going to need a lot of infrastructure. So to do that and to help promote businesses, this is for infrastructure. And what we do with tax increment financing is take only the increment that comes out of that and put it into the infrastructure. So we're not giving it to a business, but building the infrastructure that will help business to have access. I have seen how it has worked because we have done it in TIF 1 and 2, and we have done it in the heart of the city. And it is successful and the money comes back, just as you have seen in the heart of the city where the our income has increased quite a bit.
Excellent. Thank you both very much again. Next, we have our last question, which is actually a toss-up question. Candidates are able to choose between one or both of the questions. The first one is, do you have a plan or position on supporting diverse businesses in Burnsville? Or do you have a plan or position on working with ISD 191, the Burnsville School District, on repurposing or redevelopment of their facilities in Burnsville? This will be going to Elizabeth first.
So in looking to our businesses and diverse business, so I'm not quite sure if you mean diverse business in terms of the diverse in technical or in different disciplines, or minority businesses. So I'm going to take them all together. So we are in a time where things continue to pivot. And so there is innovation and automation that we can help businesses access people or resources that will help them. And in our diverse business is to understand what it is that they want and what it is that they need. So if it is about strategic direction, financial planning, a business plan, we do have opportunities and resources for them. And they can use it, and it is free to them, and we'll help them in that regard. My hope is that we will again prevail in Congress and get the HEROES Act passed so that we can have some dollars coming back. Just like we did with the CARES Act, we shared it with business. We can share the HEROES Act also with our business.
Very good, thank you. And Chris, I will read the questions again for you since there are two there. First, do you have a plan or position on supporting diverse businesses in Burnsville? Or do you have a plan or position on working with ISD 191, the Burnsville School District, on the repurposing or redevelopment of their facilities? Go ahead.
Thank you. I believe that there are many diverse people that wish to be entrepreneurs, diverse in both thought and physicality. People of all ages, nationalities, sexual orientations, and races wish to chase the American dream. And I will set my sights on helping educate those people. People who have not had the same opportunities as some of us, to help them learn what obstacles lie before them. Help them understand what best avenues they have available to them. I was raised by a first-generation immigrant entrepreneur, and I know that one of the biggest frustrations can be a government that is only there to take and is never there to help. Being a leader means helping everyone get an equal footing so we all have an equal start at the race. And the second one, about ISD 191, I'm here to listen. Whatever creative plans that the superintendent and the new administration have for their buildings, I'm ready to listen.
Thank you very much. Thank you both of you again for doing a great job with the time constraints so far. Last, this was going to be going to Chris first for a closing remarks. Another minute for you. Why are you the best candidate to represent our area as mayor?
Well, thank you, Brady. I believe that there's a lot changing right now. The world is completely different from a year ago today, let alone 10, 20, 25 years ago. Fresh, innovative ideas, a fresh set of ears to listen, and new energy going forward is going to be instrumental in how we develop and learn this new landscape before us. The other reason is I want to address the issues with first responder and emergency service funding. Currently, we only have 2 ambulances available 24 hours a day, and we need to fix those numbers before it takes an effect on the life safety of the residents of this city. I think that we have new avenues to look at. We have many new challenges before us, and we need fresh new vision in this city to get those jobs done.
Thank you. And now going over to Elizabeth. Why are you the best candidate to represent our area as mayor in the next term?
Thank you, Brady. We are in the midst of a health crisis, an economic crisis, and a social injustice crisis. And on top of all of that, we need to keep our eyes on the ball to the future and to make sure that the plans that we have for Burnsville's vibrancy and thriving for everybody, that we keep our eye on that. So together we need to use all of the resources that we have around us and the brain trust that is available to us to work together to get through the crisis, the public health crisis, and also most importantly, the economic crisis that we're experiencing. The other thing is that you need a network that will work with you, and I have that network. The other is making sure that we work together with our community as we address social injustice. One of the things that's very important that I've come to understand is that most of us, when we come together, we succeed together.
Excellent. Thank you both very much again, Elizabeth and Chris, for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us on the Facebook Live feed as well as joining us on YouTube. We appreciate that a lot, that you took the time to learn more about our candidates and be well informed for the race. Again, this was the candidate forum for Burnsville Mayor. Please remember to get out and vote. Vote your opinion. November 3rd is going to be the 2020 election day. Otherwise, absentee ballots are available to be requested very shortly. With that, thank you again from the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce. And Jennifer, I'll give it to you.
Thank you, Chris. And we'll see you around.